Oh, make yourself comfortable.
So, how are you feeling about this interview?
Good. That's a lie. No, I am feeling good. I'm just feeling... It's very vulnerable.
You know, obviously I think this is a really brave step that you're taking. Why was it important to tell your story, and why did you feel this was like the right moment to do it?
I've always been someone that believed in being honest. Having this platform, talking about sexuality, talking about mental health, embrace your weirdness, things like that. I believed other people should do that, but I didn't necessarily believe it myself. You know, everyone has been affected by the disease of addiction, whether it's themselves, someone they know. It's so much more complicated than what people make it out to be. It was my first sober Christmas, first sober New Year, and honestly, it was the best I've ever had. So I am happy, I'm grateful, I'm so thankful that this is happening. I have the opportunity to talk about it, but it's scary.
Last year was obviously, there was a lot happening in your life professionally and privately. Can you tell me a little bit about everything leading up to September?
It was pretty back-to-back in terms of what I was doing work-wise. That year, I decided, you know, it's my 30th, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go crazy in a fun way. You know, I went to Ibiza for 3 weeks, went to Burning Man, came back to go straight to work. And in that, you know, these pictures were taken. Yeah. And everything kind of, I was like, wow, okay. You know, this is bad. At that point, you know, there was a lot of people who were very worried, understandably so. I wasn't really worried though. You know, it didn't matter how many people around me were like, are you okay? Like, this isn't good, you need help. That didn't matter. But that is the nature of the disease. That is what addiction is. You can't run from the things in your life that happen. That's all I've ever wanted to do, was just pretend they don't exist. Because that would be easier, right? No, it makes it worse because it will catch up with you. It always does. I didn't want to face everything, whether it be my own self-hatred, which is an interesting thing to say because it's not like, wow, woe is me, like my life is hard. It's not. I have a wonderful life. I have a blessed life. But sometimes that doesn't match up to the way you feel about yourself.
You know, a lot of people rely on their community to intervene, but this sounds like a decision you came to yourself. Take me to those first moments where you sort of had that realization. And
I think a lot of times in my past, there's been moments where I've come to a decision myself without really many people going, you need to do something. I've always been such a seeker when it comes to knowing how to self-soothe and tools to use. But this time I wasn't. But that's kind of when you realize how the resistance towards something is really how much more you need it. All I knew is like if I was continuing to go down the road I would either end up dead or like doing something really, really stupid. And I think that was scary.
Cara, I'd love you to sort of tell us a little bit about your healing and what that's been like and what looking after yourself looks like now.
I've always been into like a quick fix in terms of I could go to, you know, a week retreat or, you know, to go on a course for trauma or do things and not fully do it. And it's helped for a minute, but it never really kind of gets to the nitty-gritty, the deeper stuff. Treatment was the best thing. It was always something I was very scared of, but I think I needed that community. I needed that support group. People do it in different ways, but that was mine. There was a lot of shame. There was a lot of hatred that in my head I thought was my voice, but it wasn't. It wasn't my shame. I had to like relinquish control to get it back again.
Speaking of, you know, shame, I think the press are quick to exacerbate this idea of shame or jump on it. And how do you navigate that? You've obviously had to deal with a lot of attention from the paparazzi.
I think the way that society deals with healing is dangerous. It's so quick to shame people and use words, and no wonder there's a stigma. You know, if it was just an intrigue to like, oh, I hope they're okay, that's one thing, but it's not. It makes the whole cycle worse for people going through it. I got hired a lot to talk about and to advocate for things like mental health and for people that are struggling. But wow, when I'm struggling myself, that's not okay. Bye. But that's the business, and it's sad. It's sad to see. You know, that's an important lesson for me. And it's their loss.
So how are you adapting to this new way of living? How are you sitting in it?
I'm enjoying it. It's one of my favorite things to like go out and dance and have a good time, but actually have like deep conversations and connections with people. It's weird. I got back to this house and just everything looked different. It's like it was a new place because I was different. Your life can change if you give yourself a chance to really be who you are and sit in that uncomfortability, because my God, it's uncomfortable for a minute, but it gets better and it's worth it. That's why I find the term recovery quite difficult, because you don't recover. And that's okay. That's why I prefer healing. Because I'm constantly doing that. I feel like, you know, I don't know why I was just imagining my heart with a crutch. That's me. But I'm good on crutches.
Oh, man. Thank you, Cara.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.